I got an ad read. Are we ready for the ad read?
Buddy,
Are we ready?
I've got a show. Let's do it.
Okay.
We have a show.
Tired of the same old stratagems, the same old explosions, the same old disappointing results when you try to wipe out a horde of automatons or a tide of terminids with your standard issue weapon? Introducing the Orbital Barrage, the only stratagem that answers the question why settle for one explosion when you could have 1,000. With a quick flip of a switch and a salute to Super Earth, you can call in the most explosive strike from orbit since the last time you couldn't open a jar of pickles. And no, we don't mean a nice gentle airstrike. No, no, no. We mean an orbital bombardment that makes death from above look like a mild inconvenience. The orbital barrage, because sometimes diplomacy just doesn't work, and you've got an entire planet to liberate. Super Earth is not responsible for collateral damage, loss of life, or damage to personal morale. Side effects may include heavy smoke inhalation and unintended planetary devastation. The orbital barrage is not for the faint of heart. Side effects may include unanticipated large-scale carnage, the complete eradication of all known enemies, and potential destruction of the planet. Consult your local commanding officer before use. Use at your own risk and your squad mate's expense.
Bum, 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 bum. Let's hell dive into this episode, of Just Some Gamers. Episode 131, my friends. Buddy, we're getting up there. We have officially, brother, done more episodes upon our return this time than we did the previous time we returned to doing the podcast.
But the previous time we returned to doing the podcast, we did like 5 episodes.
That is correct. So we have done more than the last time. I think, so far, I think we're here to stay.
So we have done almost 3 years worth of podcasts in
7 years.
7 years?
No, 6, something like that. 5.5, something like that.
Is it really only 5.5?
5.5, 6, somewhere in there.
So Lindsay and I have been married for 8 years.
Okay.
I think it's closer to 7. I think it might be closer to 8.
That is something you should probably know. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, I know Lindsay and I have been married for 8 years.
Okay.
I know you and I have been married for 20 years.
Something years.
Right. I'm nothing if not a bigamist.
That's true. You are big. Missed that one. Okay. Nailed it in the back end. Also, I did. A lot of times, Russell overnight.
In the back end?
In the back end.
I wish.
Yeah, folks, and not just Russell. It's the FR Pheasant Russell.
It really never gets old.
Really?
It really never
does.
What
if I did it as an old man? Would it get old?
If you did it as a what?
If I did it as an old man, would it get old?
It depends on what old man. Like, if we're talking about the old man from the Six Flags commercials, I would say no.
That's a lot of energy, dude.
I think you have it, though. Or at least...
But he doesn't talk. So I guess I could do that.
Fudd in high school definitely had the energy.
That is true.
We're getting up there now. So maybe Fudd now may not.
Man. Yeah, no. It actually hit me earlier today that I was like... I was taking a piss at a Chinese restaurant today. And filthy bathroom.
There was a little bit of blood in it.
Oh, filthy bathroom, dude, which means what? The food was fucking delicious, yes. Yeah. Everyone knows this. There was a kid doing his homework in the corner. Always a good sign. But
was this the same place you guys went for Thanksgiving dinner?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a buffet. This is like a real nice sit down, family owned, You order the course, you order the meal, it comes out to you.
Like a restaurant.
Yeah. I was about to get us there. Yeah. I had 3 hours of sleep last night, and it's December at the post office. My brain is pumping, baby.
Right?
Fuck.
Why did you only get 3 hours of sleep?
Sometimes I just can't sleep, man. It's tough. And
I tell you what,
on top of that, I was also playing Mountain Blade Bannerlord for too long last night.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a game that I want to try. Also, we were talking about this last week, right? We were playing with Beef. We were playing Red Dot Online.
We were
And
playing
he
Red Dead.
mentioned Wildlands. I would be
Yes.
down
You'd be down
for
for some Wildlands?
I'd be down for some Wildlands.
Have you ever
I was
played that
watching
one?
some videos. I have never.
Oh, I lost you. You like turned your head and then it went fuzzy. I'm going to make sure it's not me first, even though I haven't done anything. Resetting now.
Am I back now? Am I back? Am I
You're
good?
back. You're good.
Okay.
It was apparently me. This microphone's very old. It is running just as well as my brain right now. I didn't touch anything, and it just pooped out for a second. Also, I'm sure a cat has nibbled on a cord at some point. Anyway, sorry. Yes, Ghost Recon Wildlands. I've been tempted to do another playthrough of that. Or I've never played the entire game. I've played a ton of it, but I've never played the whole thing. And I think it'd be much easier with a full squad of people just having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Because I was watching some videos on it to be like, because I heard you guys talking about it. I kind of remembered it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I bet this is something I would like. And I was thinking, and I was like, yeah, that seems like something that would be fun to
100%,
play
dude.
with a squad. Like you said, I don't know if it would be as fun without one, but it looks like a ton of fun with a squad.
It's still a very fun game by itself. But yeah, with the full, I've played with the full group maybe once or twice, and like for a couple hours here and there, and it's like,
yeah,
oh my God, there's nothing like one, like obviously just the shenanigans that come up, but like when you're legitly locked in as a group and everyone has their special skill. I mean, like when we were doing the Division, like when we were grinding that out with like a full group all the time. You got everyone's bringing in their own special tool set and skills and their own loadouts, and like you played off of those together. Like it's just so much fun.
I just couldn't get into the Division. It was a little too bullet spongy for me.
I agree. They did better in Division 2.
Division 2 is the only one that I've played, but
Okay.
it was the demo too that I
Oh,
was like,
gotcha.
I mean, it's interesting, but I think there was something else coming out at the time that I was more interested in.
Yeah, Division 1 was truly fantastic. The amount of times, because it was just like we're big fans of like worlds that feel alive. You know what I mean? Like walking around Red Dead. Like the amount of times I would just log in and wouldn't do a mission. I would just walk around the map, like legitly like RP walk around the map, and like shit would just happen, like natural little missions, things would pop up or loot or like little world bosses and whatnot. Oh, it was just beautiful. But Division 2 did a fantastic job of pushing forward and not making it. It was still bullet spongy, but not making it as bad. But it was just another one of those. They didn't support it as long as they should have.
Yeah.
Like they had, like, it's still it's still a game that exists. They still have air quote updates, but it's just like here's a world boss, a new world boss for this or that. Like if they'd kept bringing in DLC and missions and raids and whatnot, I would have played it for a lot longer. Division just hit a sweet spot, man.
I think, I don't know. I mean, I guess we can talk about this now. I mean, since the plan for tonight is we're talking multiplayer, right? We're talking, from everything from couch co-op to, and the progression of it from couch co-op up to large scale MMOs now, right? I totally forgot what I was going to say. There was a segue I was going for
and
where I was going to talk about something, but I forgot.
How crazy fast that technology developed. Like the time frame between couch co-op even to a LAN party itself, like that is crazy to think about, to a point where you can have thousands of people on screen running around with you at the same time in a game now. It's not that big amount of time where that technology has happened. So yeah, it'll be a conversation discussing that kind of progression through technology, what's done to gaming, how it's allowed, I mean, obviously us to stay connected in life, and some of our favorite games along the way.
Very true.
Where do you want to start on this journey?
What is your first memory of playing a game with somebody else where you guys are both able to play?
Oh, man. I mean, obviously, Super Mario Brothers, I think, hits for a lot of people as the first time, but that was one of those where want to use Mario, and if you die in a level, it switches over to Luigi, and then you get to try on the level.
Right.
Honestly, do you remember, was it Bomberman on the Nintendo 64?
Super Nintendo, right?
Was it Super? No,
Bomberman.
at least the Bomberman game I played was on the Nintendo 64. That was the first time I ever played a game where me and my brother were able to be on screen at the same time.
I don't know if Bomberman was on the N64. I'm gonna check. You keep
How
talking.
dare you, sir? Bomberman N64. Well, now I have to know because I have to be right.
Well, I was gonna look it up for you so you could keep.
I know,
talking.
but it is Bomberman 64. Get shit on it.
It was okay. Well, there was one on the Super Nintendo as well.
Because we rented the Nintendo 64 from
Okay.
Blockbuster, and that was one of the games we did.
See, the reason, because that's one of my first memories too. In fact, I have a memory of, but this was on the Super Nintendo, of my grandparents had Bomberman on the Super Nintendo, right? They had a Super Nintendo for us as kids to play, the grandkids.
Yeah.
And we were all together because we would do like these family reunions.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my grandfather had built this case out of wood for all their VHSs, right? And it like had these hinges that opened up and the TV was on top. And then it had like a little slot in front for the Super Nintendo to sit in. And so I just remember we stayed up, felt like all night.
Oh, yeah.
Playing Bomberman, the two of us co-op running around. And it was my cousin, wasn't Haley. It may have been Haley. And we just sat there and we played it all night long. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
No, I wasn't interrupting. That was right alongside. But yeah, no. Nintendo 64 Bomberman was the first time I was able to have both of us on screen at the same time instead of having to just take turns. Which was, what a time for couch co-op. You know, like the amount of games, obviously
sure.
Super Mario, the Ninja Turtles game, Streets of Rage on the Sega Genesis was massive. Mm-hmm. I probably spent way too much time on that. Golden Axe, honestly.
Golden Axe is great.
Golden Axe, Sega Genesis, also where you both were on screen at the same time. Sprint, shoulder jump, sprint, shoulder jump, sprint, shoulder jump. That's all you needed to win the game, baby. But yeah, just so much good couch co-op at the time.
So actually my first memory is not couch co-op. It's playing it in the arcade. Which may be showing my age a little bit here.
They still have arcades.
Now, yeah, but they're like nickel arcades and like nobody.
Yeah.
People go to them, but it is not in the same way that people went to arcades.
100%, yeah.
There was a place that was like a Sand Mountain mini golf in where I grew up in Alabama, in Gunnersville, and that's my dad. My dad would take me, right, because my parents were divorced, so that was when I got to see him. We would go to the arcade because that's where I wanted to go. And
which
I
divorce
believe,
was that?
Good thing my mom doesn't listen to the show.
Oh, got him.
Okay. And so I think it was either Ninja Turtles or it was the X-Men arcade cabinet.
Yes. Oh my God, that was such a phenomenal. Do you remember what was it, Gauntlet? Is that what that game was called? Where you had like there's like a mage. Yeah. Yeah, you had like the four classes.
And you went through a dungeon.
You went through a dungeon? Yeah. Oh my God, that one. The first time I watched it is actually a funny story. My uncle, before he got married and everything, he was the cool uncle, right? He wanted to be the cool uncle real bad. And he kept fucking
before he got married.
Well, this is when we were really little, you know. And he was the only uncle who wasn't married with kids. So he was just like, yeah, I'm with you kids doing the thingy. Like, yeah. He introduced me to my first MMO, like a whole bunch of stuff. But this is the uncle that took us to see the Pokemon movie when it came out, and then fell asleep in the opening scene and snored the whole movie. Yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, so my mom asked him to watch me and Clay one time because she had to run some errands, and he's like, "That's cool. We're gonna go to the arcade. It's gonna be awesome." So he takes us to the arcade at the mall and gets himself all his tokens. We're like, "Sweet, how many do we get?" He goes, No, I have a job. You don't. You're gonna watch me play arcade games.
I said I would take them to the arcade, not
Yep.
that I would let them play.
100. He's like, I literally said, you guys can watch, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's great. You know, at that age, you're like, yeah, that makes total sense. And now looking back, you're like, you piece of shit. But yeah, dude, watching him play Gauntlet that first time, you're like, we've had this conversation before. Graphics will never get better than this. This is so realistic. And you go back to watch now, and you're like, it's just like 3 blue circles with a staff, you know?
Did you ever play Sonic? So like, it wasn't. I think it was the first Sonic. It may have been the second one, but I'm pretty sure it was the first one where you couldn't necessarily play co-op, but you could do like the versus the races.
Oh, the races, yeah. Well,
I
they
want
also
to say
had
that was
like
the first one.
I feel like was it Sonic 2 that had like almost like Donkey Kong Country, where like if one of you got knocked out as Sonic, the other one came in as Tails. Is that a thing? I don't remember.
I think it is a thing, but I think in Sonic 2 that you could run it co-op with Tails and Sonic together.
Here's a deep cut for everyone. Do you guys remember the Sonic and Knuckles, right? The cartridge, giant black cartridge, and the top would open up and it had another cartridge slot, and you could put Sonic the Hedgehog 2 into that cartridge, and then it would let you play as Knuckles in Sonic 2.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a thing. What a crazy concept.
The extent that you had to go to allow technology to then allow you to play.
It was
together.
the first DLC character for a game.
Well, he had his own
you
game
think about
too,
it,
right? Because the Knuckles.
But if you think about
Sonic,
it was the first DLC. You had to buy the other game and then hook them all together to play them in it. Like crazy. But dude, watching that suck because like these cartridges didn't sit in stuff very sturdy at all.
No.
So to watch that leaning tower of Sonic, just like heaven forbid, there's a fan blowing, game gets disconnected.
Did you ever have the Game Shark for the N64? My uncles. So my uncles had an N64. I didn't have a game console myself until I was like 10 or 11, which I guess isn't really that old, but it seems old to me, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Because everybody else around me had like an N64. They had Sega. They had whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I never got one until I was much older. Well, not much older, but 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And then I had gotten the PlayStation. But I remember that they had the Game Shark, and you'd get like Turok, right? And you'd unlock all the cheats.
Ooh.
Or, right, we're talking about multiplayer, one of the best multiplayer games of all time, GoldenEye.
Yeah,
GoldenEye, baby.
You just made me so wet.
Dude, do you remember? I mean, we would stay up until the wee hours of the morning playing GoldenEye because we were supposed to be in bed. So what we would do is my 2 uncles would come, like they would stay up late, wait until everybody else was asleep, and then they would like come and wake us up. So the 4 of us would be sitting there in this dark room at the back of the house, huddled around playing GoldenEye just until we could not anymore, until we were falling asleep playing it.
Yeah, baby. I'm trying to figure out which game this was. There was another Bond game. It was after GoldenEye. And it was actually like pretty decently 3D rendered at the time. And
Tomorrow's Not Enough?
It might have been Tomorrow's Not Enough. Yeah, you might be dead on. It had actually pretty decent sniping mechanics. But I remember playing that one with a group of my brother's friends all the time, dude. All the time. I mean, so many complete days, like sunrise to sunset, never getting tired and just rotating people through. So much fun.
Do you remember the thing was, so I like Jaws from GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I didn't play Tomorrow's Not Enough until I was a little bit older, and so it wasn't, like you said, going back to the game. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to go back and play GoldenEye recently, but it's brain hurty.
It's a nostalgia. It was The World Is Not Enough. Look at you go, dude.
The World Is Not Enough.
The World
not
is not
Tomorrow's
enough.
Not Enough.
The World Is Not Enough was really
I
fun.
was close. I was close. I know which one it is. It's the one with like the super billionaire. They're all super billionaires.
Yeah, they're all super
But
billionaires.
he is like a media mogul.
Uh-huh.
Is what it is. Which, if I'm not mistaken, The World Is Not Enough actually came out before GoldenEye did.
GoldenEye was
The movie.
Oh, the movie.
The movie.
Yeah. But so a lot of couch co-op stuff going, right? Which I feel like we could get really into. Two random memories though, real quick, just from stuff you talked about.
Yeah.
Because we're nostalgic people, right? I didn't have a Nintendo 64. We rented one for a week from Blockbuster, which is a great sentence. Yeah. But also I had a kid who lived around the corner who had one. And I honestly, and I will not apologize, was only his friend so I could play the Nintendo 64.
I had a few friends like that.
100%. Every time we went over, he was like, "You want to go on a bike ride?" I was like, "What if we played Toy Army Soldiers on the Nintendo 64?" You know? He's like, "Hey, I've got a hot tub," and I was like, "That sounds cool." I did like, hot. Come on, hot tub. But yeah, dude, I was only ever. And then one day he got like his mom got rid of it because he was an only kid. He was like super spoiled and talked back to his mom all the time. And she took it away one day, and I was like, "My mommy says you're a bad influence, so I can't be your friend anymore." And it was just because he didn't have a Nintendo 64 anymore. I'm going to be absolutely honest.
You know, I had. I don't think I was friends with anybody just because they had a console.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Perfect.
No. I became friends with people. But there was a friend of mine, Joy, in elementary school. We were pretty close friends. I really enjoyed hanging out with her. She was really awesome. But she also had an N64. And she had Ocarina of Time, and this isn't necessarily couch co-op or anything, but it kind of was because I'd sit there and I'd watch her play and be like, yeah. I just was enamored by Zelda. And it was crazy. That it was that thing where I was like, I want to be invested in this game so much that I just want to watch you play it.
Yes.
And then she got to the water temple and never finished it.
Dude, real quick, one other memory, because you mentioned the word Turok, right? And this creates a very intense response. So we had people that lived behind us at one point. They had a kid who was 1 grade older than me. I thought he was the coolest dude in the world, right? We once dug we tried to dig a hole to China in his backyard. And we got pretty deep. His parents, honestly, looking back on it, it was a horrible situation, right? His parents were never there. But yeah, so we dug this giant hole and we finally gave up. And then we're like, what if we filled it with Pepsi? And so we went inside. Their fridge was stocked with 2 liters of Pepsi. So we're just dumping fucking 2 liters of Pepsi in this hole because we're like, we're going to make a swimming pool of Pepsi. And it was just a really muddy hole in the backyard. It was this whole thing, right? But anyway, so the one time I was like, I'm going to spend the night at this guy's house. Oh, yeah, dude. It's so bad. He took the fall for all of it. Never said I was part of it. So that was cool. But so I stayed the night at their house, right? And his parents chain smoked like insanity. Their whole house reeked of cigarette smoke. And so I remember we played Turok all night, passed out at some point, and I woke up with this pounding headache from just sleeping in cigarette smoke all night. I was like 8 years old, right? And so I'm like, I'm going to have some breakfast and go home. So I go up to the kitchen. You've probably heard this story 100 times. And I'm going to have some cereal. And so I pour the bowl of Cheerios. And I go to the fridge and I'm like, there's no milk or 2 liters of Pepsi because they're all in the hole. I was like, well, in my 8-year-old chain smoked brain, I was like, that's fine. I'll just put water in the Cheerios. And so I dumped water in the bowl. And so anytime someone mentions Turok, I taste.
That is what you.
I taste cigarette smoke and watered down Cheerios. Legitly, it's such a response. That game is ruined for the rest of my life.
While we're talking, I want to talk about this. So, were there any characters that were off limits when you played GoldenEye? Well, you said when you were able to play it.
Not that I recall.
Then you didn't play it enough because Oddjob is the answer. Oddjob sucked so bad because he was
short, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
short, so he was below your eye line, and it was really like this. You play it at the time, and you're like, "Oh, this is so cool," but it was so slow to track
Mm-hmm.
anything, and so you would have this little guy running up to you, and then he would just karate chop you to death and then run off.
We had that rule with the in Time Splitters 2, you couldn't play the
Yeah,
monkey. That was a
mm,
big rule in our house.
I remember that rule.
Yes. Oh, yes. We were very. That game we played a shit ton of. GoldenEye, not as much, but Time Splitters 2, a shit ton. Yeah, you're not allowed to play the monkey. So we're talking a lot about couch co-op, right?
Yeah.
Really good times there. We've had episodes where we've talked about some really good couch co-op games that are modern. You know, It Takes Two, stuff like that, right? But what was the first game, and not MMO wise, but like what was the first time you experienced online where you were playing with someone that wasn't in the same room as you?
Oh goodness.
I can go
Because
first if you need me to.
I stayed away from online for a long time. Just because like it's like I don't know, it seemed really weird to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Honestly, what it
Such
was.
a weird. Oh, absolutely. Well, we were
I
still
think
barely in the, uh, get off the internet. I need to make a phone call, times.
I think the first online game that I ever played, uh, it was if I'm not mistaken,
Here we go.
it it was Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh my God. Yes.
Because there was a multiplayer mode and you could play online.
Was that Bad Fur Day? Because they had the Live and Reloaded game.
The Live and Reloaded.
I remember playing. We even played some of that together. That was
Because it was on Xbox.
yeah. Because that was like
Yeah.
it was like the fucking a really good like almost World War II-esque shooter, but it was all like
Yeah.
squirrels and
Yeah.
yeah,
And zombies.
and zombies.
And teddy bears.
That was a great game.
I think that was my first online experience, and it was I mean, kind of meshing right co-op because as we got older, right, that was what you and I when we were in high school. That was what we did, man.
Absolutely.
We'd get together, we'd play. I mean, Halo, Guitar Hero, right? Because that's
dude.
couch co-op.
I still am so sad that like Rock Band didn't come out while we were doing the basement parties all the time.
I know.
Because if we could have had a full band, but instead of just switching out who was playing on the guitar, oh my God, dude. So yeah, that's something. So speaking of couch co-op and stuff, like what Russell just mentioned, we've ad nauseum talked about this because our friendship is really fucking cool. Don't mean to brag, but like what we have is really fucking awesome. We would do massive gaming parties and tournaments and stuff in Russ's basement all the time. Halo parties, people would bring over like just
LAN parties where we would
connect
like
people
3 or
would
4
bring over
TVs.
their fucking box of a TV, right? Hooking up, playing Halo. You had the fucking sheet taped to the middle of the TV so you couldn't screen peek. There's just like one person underneath and one person on top, and like someone built like a wall between the two TVs. So just everyone was very adamant about screen peeking at the time, right? And just like all the fucking snacks. There's that bar in the basement, man. And like all the soda, snacks. People just come through the back door of the house. Dude, such good times.
And then you busted Michael's face with a sock and bopper.
Yeah. Those are not built for teenagers, by the way. Those are definitely for kids. Fun fact. My favorite thing of that is Danny. I won't throw the last name out there. But Danny immediately, because he was the bishop's son at the time. I can't be here. This is too much. Like just completely losing his shit. The second Michael hit the floor. So good. And we just, I'm sure he's fine as we're teenagers, right? Who cares? Your guy blacked out because he got punched in the face. We just like put him on the couch, and when he woke up, we were like, "Yeah, man, you fell asleep early. I don't know what to tell you."
Yeah.
Good times.
So that was my first. That was my first LAN party and online.
Online.
My first online experience, right?
Yeah.
Because you went from couch co-op and then things started to go up with LAN, right? Where you still had to have a physical connection
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
to the other people, and then we moved to online where you could do it at a distance. So,
And
what
I
was your
had
first
my
LAN experience?
my
Was it
first
online or was it LAN?
uh my first two very different things, right? Like LAN would probably be your basement again, also with you.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
having multiple systems hooked up to each other so you could be in the same game and getting things figured out there. But my first time ever online,
We had a lot of firsts
together. Oh my god, dude. This is I wish just like for the amount of tissues we went through, like I wish we'd thought about socks at the time. Like how much further a sock will take you it's insane.
I knew about socks. I just wasn't about to share my socks with you.
I didn't want those socks. I was like, what a weird collection there, Russ. How'd you make them stand up on their own?
Why do you just have a bunch of left foot socks?
I thought they were mannequin feet. It was weird. So in 1998, StarCraft, the first StarCraft had come out. And Blizzard was killing it and being one of the first games that had like the BattleNet system, right? Where you could connect to people online and play with them. So we'd met one of my mom's friends for piano lessons. They both taught piano. We're meeting up. We're like, fine, we'll go with you. And then she had two boys who were our exact age, and we're playing StarCraft. And we're like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing we ever watched, because we were Warcraft kids. We never watched StarCraft, and so we begged mom to get us StarCraft. We did so many chores, and then those two other kids, we were the first people we switched off playing online against these guys. And one day, I remember playing StarCraft online and approaching one of them. They were playing Protoss, and the whole wall of their base was just row after row of pylons. So it took forever to break through, but also they had all the resources in the fucking world. And I was like, all right, I'm out of my league here. Like, I don't know what to do now. But yeah, the original StarCraft, man, was the first time I ever played online against someone else.
So I guess I had some LAN experience. I was never allowed to play. I watched my uncles play Diablo.
Oh yeah.
And Warcraft. They were big into Warcraft. They weren't as big into StarCraft. They did eventually, but by that time I think I'd moved away. And so I watched them play together a lot because they had two computers, so they would just LAN party with each other. And then, do all the damage that way. I mean, Diablo though was online too, right?
Yes, that one you could play online. And again, that was Blizzard, man. They had all that lockdown out of the gate.
Mm-hmm. But StarCraft was so fun. You get people together playing StarCraft, and that was because again, and I think this is the thing, right? And this is kind of the thing that I miss, and I think that unfortunately we've moved away from. And I hope we see a resurgence of it, right? Because online, nobody does couch co-op or like a LAN thing anymore, except for It Takes Two. It's very rare.
Very rare. Yeah, absolutely.
We've seen a lot more of it lately, though, with things like, oh gosh, what was it? Cult of the Lamb, right? That's couch co-op.
That's couch co-op. Yep.
We've got the Ninja Turtles Brawler, which
I've
just
heard
recently
great
came
things
out.
About that, absolutely.
Couch co-op. We've seen kind of a resurgence of kind of those nostalgia things, and the reason people love them is, that is just one of those fun things of an experience you can share with a friend, and it's even better when they're sitting next to you.
Yes.
And you're like, you're just mad because I remember when I was living in Utah, and it was just an apartment full of guys. There was 4 or 5 of us. And so we were playing. We got into playing Injustice.
Oh, okay.
The fighter game with DC.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always do Deathstroke because he could shoot people from across the map, and they would get so pissed. But there's that thing of sitting in the room with somebody, ordering some pizza, especially as we got older and we had like our own money. Ordering some pizza, and you're just chilling there. You're playing. You're taking turns if you want to. We had, speaking of that, when I lived there, we would like have tournaments where we would all get together and we would be playing in different rooms, and that was kind of the fun of the online and the couch, because you could have 4 people on each TV.
Oh yeah,
and we would play Call of Duty, and we would have like Call of Duty tournaments and turn those around. One of my really good friends that I live with, Josh, he would go to work. I traveled for work once a week, and then that was like my paycheck for the rest of the time, because I was paying like $500 in rent, and that was it. And so I didn't really have anything to do the rest of the time except go on dates and play zombies. So he would come back from work, and I'd be like, because it was a thing that we just said, we'd go, zombie almost? Let's go zombies. And we would sit there, we would get some pizza, and then we would sit there and we would play Call of Duty Zombies until he had to go to bed. And then we would do it all again the next day.
That could have been us.
Was, I know.
That could have been us.
I know.
But you abandoned me.
Whatever. You got married like way quick after you graduated.
It was like 4 years, 4 years.
Let's say I was 20 when you got married, so it was 2 years after we graduated.
We graduated in 2008. I got married in 2011.
Okay, so 3.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to make it to your wedding because I was in the MTC.
That's true. And I couldn't make it to your wedding because I hate you.
It was early 2011.
It was February. Yeah.
Because I was not quite 21. So 2.5 years after we graduated.
Anyway, it could have been us. Would have been beautiful. Anyway, we probably would have just married each other, if I'm being honest.
I mean, let's be real.
It's for the
Lisa
best.
would have been like, look, it's him or it's me.
And I probably would have chosen Ross. I'm just saying. I mean, what was I going to mention? Okay, so that was first like time ever playing online, right?
Yeah.
But like
yeah.
First time, and not MMO, but like almost massive, like a multiplayer online experience, right? So like to put it in perspective, for me, it was Battlefield Vietnam in 2004. It was my first time ever experiencing Battlefield.
Oh yeah.
But the first time loading into that and seeing like, I mean, it's probably not the real number, but like 80 people, in the same map at the same time, and tanks and planes and helicopters.
Yeah.
And like, if you were in vehicles in Battlefield Vietnam, they actually had a radio that played like Fortunate Son and stuff like that. So like you're running through the trees, shooting people, a Jeep flies by you, a helicopter zooms by, that you actually hear Fortunate Son blaring from it as it passes over your head. Like, people forget how fucking groundbreaking Battlefield was when it came out. Like, I think Vietnam was the second one. Was it 19? I think they did 1944 was before that.
Well, was Battlefield before Call of Duty? Medal of Honor was the first.
They all came around the same time, I think.
I think Medal of Honor was the first.
I think you're right. And they're not around anymore.
And then they're not. No.
But yeah, Battlefield and Call of Duty has kind of always been there. And then Call of Duty, was always
that was the juggernaut. I mean, it really pushed.
Well, Battlefield and them were always neck and neck. Call of Duty did really, Call of Duty had the campaigns that were phenomenal and that arcadey shooter, right? And then you had Battlefield, which was the like just massive player battles, So it's like both had a really great spot. And as we've moved on, like Call of Duty now has a pretty decent like a big ground war with vehicles and whatnot. They do a pretty good job of that as well. But yeah, dude, Battlefield Vietnam and like actually playing with friends, hanging out with friends, playing a certain game. You'd be like, all right, I'll see you later tonight in Battlefield. and you just go to your separate houses and then play again together at the same time. Like, so freaking fun and blew my mind. Like, and again, that was, was it 98 was the first time I was like, you can play online with someone else. And this is like 5-6 years later, maybe there's 80 people on the map with you with vehicles and like explosions and shit. Insane how quickly that transitioned.
Well, and then you got into World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah, which was also 2004, I believe.
Was it really?
Yes. Yeah. This is the 20th anniversary this year of World of Warcraft. Yeah. 2004, crazy. Man. And again, that was that my cool uncle, right, was playing RuneScape at the time.
Oh yeah.
And that was the first time I was like, what's this? It's like, oh, these are all other people running around doing their thing and whatnot. And I was like, that's a really cool concept where you make your own character and live in the world. It was my first time experiencing something like that. And then, yeah, when WoW came out, was like, oh, this a not top down, super blocky. Obviously, looking back, the graphics of original WoW are obviously 20 years old, but that first experience of like making your character, and there were so many different, races and the factions and everything. And I never really got to see Capital City because at the time, due to internet and whatnot, like, it's so funny. I'd be on a laptop, and if I had to go to like Orgrimmar, which is the Horde capital city, if I had a quest to go there, I would stop in front of the gates, log out. Next time I was at my friend's house, I'd log in at his house because he had better internet. So then I could go into the city to do the quest, and then I'd leave, log out in front of the gate. So when I got home, okay, cool, I can go back in the world and do my thing. But yeah, dude, that for like just running around, just being like, there are so many people just running around and doing their quests and, PvP. Like that was one of my first, like obviously Battlefield is all PvP, but like, MMO, at first, like I think I accidentally was on a PvP server, and so you just get ganked by people all the time. And it got to a point where like I'd leveled up enough, and we were like sitting in the bushes on either side of a road as like a group of Alliance players were going through, because there's no like just fast traveling and porting everywhere. And we like dove out of the bushes and like ripped them to shreds and went through and tried to kill the town. And we're like, no one go to the Griffin Master because he'll fuck you up, because he was always like 80 levels higher because no one could kill him. Oh no, I aggroed the Griffin Master. We're all dead. Run, run, run. It was just so good, man. And MMOs have been a massive part of my life since then.
See, I never really got on the MMO bandwagon. Red Dead Online, that's an MMO, right? Actually, my first MMO would have had to have been Destiny.
Yeah, that's probably true. Because I remember like...
That is the first one I got into.
I tried to get you into WoW, and you were never... You're like, yeah, no, it's not really... Well, I think it's the pacing. You know what I mean?
It was also, at the time, I was a security guard, and I was working nights.
Well,
so when I get on...
This is 2004, baby. I tried it because we'd go... Because I distinctly remember...
Oh, yeah. My mom wouldn't get WoW for me.
No, she wouldn't. No. I remember this we installed it on your computer. I remember doing this, actually. Yeah. And she was like, no, we're never doing this. We're like, oh, but we spent 12 hours and 8 discs
it took
to install this game. Yes. But, no, I just remember...
a subscription, and she wouldn't pay for it. She wouldn't pay for the subscription.
We'd go to seminary, and I remember that this was junior year. Lord of the Rings Online had come out. So this is 2007.
Yes.
And so we'd go, me and Lisa were dating at the time. So we'd go in the morning to help me out. I just said the word.
Seminary?
To seminary. Church? And then go to my house. Yeah. Right. And the second we got there, I was like, I'm logging into Lord of the Rings Online. I got to level up, and like my girlfriend is there, and she's like, I want to hang out. I'm like, I got no time for you, lady. Like, I distinctly remember doing that a lot.
I remember, well, this has nothing to do with multiplayer. I do remember writing a short story for one of my classes, and you typed it for me. Because I had written it, and I needed to type it, but I was not a very fast typist, and you were like, I'm pretty fast. And so you typed out the story for me. I like read it out to you, and then you typed it.
Yeah, well, because I was used to typing in chat in MMOs all the time. Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh, it was a great time, buddy.
We love you, Beef.
We love you so much, Beef. Don't make us word vomit about how much we love you again.
No.
But yeah, what was that? Lord of the Rings Online was massive. World of Warcraft was huge.
Yeah. I remember the one thing that I did like about World of Warcraft, because I tried to get into it again. You were playing it a lot shortly after, like, we graduated. I had moved to Alabama.
Yeah.
I was working at Securitas.
I was
And
playing at work. It was so good.
See, I'm the one time, I had a, anyway, they were pretty observant about that.
The first time I killed Deathwing, so that tells you the expansion this was at, right? Which was, it's kind of sad how long ago that even was. The first time I killed Deathwing was at work. So good in a raid. So good.
I remember Deathwing though was like while we were still in high school, wasn't it?
No, that came out. Let me find out.
Because I remember specifically you
2010.
showing me. Oh, it must have been when I'd come back for a visit then, because I remember specifically you showing me Deathwing and being like, "Yeah, this is where you ripped it out of the ground.
Yes.
This is what's changed." And I was like, "This sounds really cool." And I think that's when I went back and I was like, "Okay, let me see if I can get into this." I started wasn't an orc. That was later. It was the werewolf guys.
Oh, Worgen.
Worgen.
Yeah.
Because Worgen are freaking cool.
Yeah. And they had a really cool starting zone, and they're like their own starting zone with the story and cinematics, and
yeah,
really,
it was really cool. But I think like the first MMO was Destiny when I had gotten my PS4, and then I think we found out that because when I moved here to Texas, I was like, I'm getting a TV, I'm getting a PS4, I'm getting a couch, and I'm getting a bed. That is what I'm doing with my money. And that is exactly what I did with my money.
That's 100% what you did.
And I think because at the time we weren't in as much contact as we are now.
No, it was very rare. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like maybe once or twice a year we'd talk to each other at the time.
And I think you found out that I had Destiny and you were like, "Oh, yeah, no, why aren't you playing?"
What had happened was this was towards the end of Destiny, during not Taken King. What was the one after Taken? Rise of Iron.
Yes,
I posted a picture on Facebook and you commented on it. You're like, "Oh my God, I play this game too." Like, and I was like, "On PlayStation?" You're like, "On PlayStation." And we like got each other's information and like sent each other friend requests and like jumped in that night. And that was like, we did strikes for like 3 hours and just caught up on life, man. And since that moment, let me look up the year of that again. And we were inseparable in high school, kind of drifted a little bit afterwards. And then in that moment, we have been, almost daily communication since.
Yeah. Through some form or another.
Yeah. 2016.
Yep. Yeah, so 8 years?
So like, yeah.
No, Rise of Iron was in 2016, was it?
It says Rise of Iron was 2016.
That was the one with like oh yeah, no, that's about right. That's when we started playing together a lot. Correct. I think we had played a couple of things before. No, I guess not. No, because I didn't have anybody to run any of the raids with.
That was because I didn't have a PS4 until Destiny. I never did the PS3. I was mostly just I went from PS2 and mostly PC until the PlayStation 4.
Because I had the PS3.
Again, I was all in on. I was still playing WoW, Lord of the Rings Online every once in a while. Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn had come out. Like I was all in on MMOs. Still, like just all in on them.
Yeah, it was and I think that was the thing. We had never lined up because I didn't have a PC. And so it was exciting to see that you were playing Destiny on the PlayStation, because then that meant that we could finally play something together. And we did. We played that a heck of a lot.
So much.
And it was shortly after Lindsay and I got married. Because we got married in 2016.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Yeah, because that was September of 2016 is when Rise of Iron came out. So it was later in the year.
Yep, that tracks. Oh man, that was so rough because I was working 12-hour days, driving everywhere, and then I'd come home and I'd like fall asleep. And so I'd be like, let's play. I want to play, but I can't. Let's play the weekend or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And I still couldn't find a time to do the raids with you guys.
No, I distinctly remember that because, yeah, we had a
It wasn't until
group.
Destiny 2 that I had any kind of time to do that.
What's funny because, like, I had gotten with the post office
Yep.
during Destiny's lifespan. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's so I've been here 10 years. So is that 2014, right? 14, 15,
Yep.
somewhere in there. Yeah, this is my 10th Christmas. But like we had a really solid raid group of people that I had. One of the people was someone I knew IRL, and so me and Nick, people, longtime listeners, used to be one of the co-hosts on the show, Sandbag Bob. My dog is going nuts about
I
me
can
right
hear. I can hear it.
now. I don't know what's going. Well, my daughter's wrestling with her. I think.
No.
This is hilarious. Or she's destroying all the Christmas decorations. I'll find out later. Oh God. But yeah, so I'd gotten him into this raid group, and then I'd gotten started at the post office right before Christmas. And so obviously I had zero time to play. So he went
Yeah.
all in with this raid group, and they were, I mean, just absolutely slaying it. This was during Taken King, actually. And yeah, I don't think me and you ever did a raid till the Leviathan in Destiny 2.
We did Taken King together. Oh yeah, because Rise of Iron came out before Taken King.
No, Rise of Iron was the last one.
So we did do some Taken King together because I beat Oryx. You and Nick took me through
I don't
and
remember
beat
this.
Oryx, but we didn't end up getting to do the raid.
Oh, so we like brought you into a checkpoint and just killed the boss and not the rest of the raid?
So no. It was when you kill Oryx before
Oh,
he
in the
then
campaign.
becomes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We played some of the campaign together.
Okay.
It was Taken King where we started playing a little bit more together, but it was really inconsistent. Rise of Iron was a little bit better because uh, I had ended up losing my job in the meantime between when like the week before Lindsay and I got married, I lost my job, and then I was out of work for like 3 months.
There's a war zone going on up there.
I know, I can hear it.
I'm going to go make sure it is my daughter and not Christmas decorations.
Okay.
So Destiny,
Yeah.
your first MMO. Oh, well, I mean, what
Yep.
are your, I mean, as someone who never got to go into the air quotes classic, MMO type game, jumping into Destiny as an MMO RPG, right? Like,
Right.
what were your thoughts and experiences having the class system and grinding
Right.
something over and over and over and over and over for better gear, with other people for the first time? Like, what was that like for you?
Well, I mean, Destiny for me, like the big draw was being able to play with people like Elmer and Nick, because I had gotten Destiny 2 because it had come with my PS4. That's when I got my PS4 was with the Destiny package, and so I was like, I'll play it. I was waiting for Dragon Age Inquisition, and it was, I want to say The Witcher 3, but no, it was Shadow of Mordor, which is a freaking fantastic game. But that's neither here nor there. So I'd gotten Destiny 2 while I was waiting for those to come out. I was like, well, I had got my PS4, so I was like, oh, I'll play that. I also played a lot of Dark Souls. Excuse me. And I remember, what was his question? His question was, what was that like for me? What were the things that I liked? That was mostly the big thing. Like Destiny, and I'll say this for Destiny, the gameplay is buttery smooth. Always has been. I haven't played anything lately. I think after Activision and what is it? BioWare split. BioWare, right? BioWare is who did Destiny, right? Um, and so that was the thing that kept me in, but I liked it. Destiny just it didn't strike a chord with me, like a strong chord. Um, just because I am very much a sword and board guy. I really really like that. I wish there were more action oriented games that were more like that sword and board. It's kind of one of the things I like about Red Dead Online and why I kind of go back to it. The older, the more medieval you get, the better I like it. So I did like Destiny. The class systems were a ton of fun. I mean, I thought there was some good customization. Um, I wish I had gone Titan instead of Warlock or
Warlock.
Hunter. Because I think I went Warlock in Destiny 1. I think I went Hunter in Destiny 2.
You did.
And then at some point, I was like, well, I want to start at Titan. And I started at Titan and was like, why did I never do Titan before?
Oh.
Because Titans are absolutely 100% where it's at.
Hell yeah, brother.
So good.
But I liked it. But the big draw was you, right? I wanted to be able to play a game with you.
Yeah.
And then we got super into it. And I had days free where I was like, I'm just gonna spend all day grinding away at this. I know at one point that was during our podcast era because you'd be like, Russell, I saw you were on Destiny all day today. And I was like, yep, definitely
Sure
was.
Yep. The back in the day when Russ was grinding it out. Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's just like, and as you mentioned, you love sword and board games. Like you play a ton of RPGs, right? So you're used to that, like, grinding for better gear to fill in different slots, so you have more power and whatnot and skill trees. But like, there's just something about it being group related that pushes you in a different way, right? To want to keep up, do harder content with your friends.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You just add that multiplayer experience and what that does mentally to make you want to push harder. And that was my big thing. Obviously very early on, I didn't have any other friends that played WoW and Lord of the Rings Online. Final Fantasy 14 is the first time I had a group of people, but like, I played a lot solo. But like, not queuing in back in the day, but like finding a group to do a dungeon, you just yell out in like Baron's chat for Wailing Caverns, constantly until you found a group of people, and then you'd have to run to the dungeon and go inside. And people who play WoW now who didn't before, Wailing Caverns is like a 8-minute ordeal now, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, like I would have to check with the entire family before starting Wailing Caverns because it was like a 3-hour ordeal to do the whole dungeon. It was insane. But like, later on when things got easier with Group Finder, the first time I was able to actually do a raid. The looking for raid system coming in where he really didn't have to communicate. You could just queue in with random people for the first time and just do a simplified version of a raid so you get the experience was awesome. But just that first time where you go, oh, this gear really matters. And like, look, and there was a moment where I just enjoyed the open world gameplay, right? And then a moment where I got in a raid team with people you were going, playing together with every week. And really grinding out and researching. All right, what gem do I want in this slot? What's my best in slot gloves? Where do those drop? Okay, this heroic dungeon, I'm going to grind this one forever. Or this, I can get a version of it in looking for raid. So I'm going to grind all that this week before I do the actual raid. And getting with your group of friends and just like bullshitting while you're killing bosses and figuring mechanics out. And like, there's just something about it, man, that just hits such a spot. And to go from playing Super Mario Brothers, right, with your brother sitting next to you to like, falling off an airship onto the back of a flying dragon with a group of 9 friends while you're blowing up tendrils to knock off a piece of armor so you can cut through the neck pieces. But if everyone goes too far to one side, the dragon will roll over and wipe the whole thing. So you're constantly working on, all right, this number of group of people need to be over here and over here. I've got this group of tendrils here, but I need a 10th one. Okay, you grab it from here and send it to here. I need to be healed. I need to be rezzed. And just that intricacy of everyone working together to kill a boss. And that's, again, not a huge group or a big jump in time between those two things happening. It's incredible.
You know, I think the games that I've enjoyed most outside of Dark Souls, Elden Ring,
Red
you know,
Dead.
my action RPGs that
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
really into have been games where I have been able to play with you or other people. Helldivers, one of my favorite games of all
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely one game that I can continuously go back to. Red Dead Online, right? And it's funny because the like Overwatch, things like that, right? There was that period of time where we were both on PlayStation, and we played games together. Then you got a PC, so you moved over to more PC oriented games. You moved away from your PlayStation, and then it wasn't too long afterwards that I was like, well, I guess I need to get a PC so I can keep playing with Elmer, right? And so it became this thing of like those were the things that I chase after was time with you, right?
Aw.
I mean, there are other people.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the person that I look forward to most, aside from Joe. Joe, I really look forward to playing with
Who's that?
as well. My brother-in-law.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, Eggy.
Nope. Nope. Don't know who that is
Um,
at all.
won't acknowledge his existence.
Nope. Will not.
Um, of the two of you, you guys are probably the people that I love playing with the most. And it's one of those things where it's like the games that I've most enjoyed playing are usually games that we have shared
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah. It's interesting to have gotten from a point where, like, as someone who has been a big MMO guy and whatnot, but that I really enjoyed just like sitting by myself, and playing through,
Yeah.
a huge Assassin's Creed fan, playing through all the Assassin's Creeds, or different single player RPG style games and whatnot, or, like Call of Duty campaigns. I would stop playing multiplayer at some point. I would just buy them for the campaigns because they're fantastic. But like,
Right.
there was a good chunk of time where I was like, I just want to play solo by myself. And like,
Mm-hmm.
jumping from that to now, where if I have time to game and there's no one available, there's almost one where I'm like, well, I guess I just won't play a game. It's just weird to have made that jump to where it's like, no, everything's just multiplayer now. Like, why would I ever? If I'm by myself, I might as well just masturbate. Like, why would I?
I still play a lot of games by myself, but
Oh
it's
no,
usually ones that we share in common where I can go, he's not on, I'll grind a little bit.
yeah,
RDO, right? RDO right now where I'm like, I have 5 or 10 minutes during the day and I'm like, I'll jump in here, I'll grind a little bit so that the next time we're playing together and he's got his rolling block rifle and is shooting me from across the map, I have my own rolling block rifle that I can shoot him. I got shotgun today, specifically because I was like, I want them to team up on me next time. I want them to come running at me. Bring it. I got my pump action shotgun. I'll fool you full of slugs.
Hell
You
yeah.
dick. But I mean, it's things like that, and I think it's that shared experience, right?
Yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
become a huge part of gaming. Um, and I don't get me wrong, I still love my action RPGs. As a
Oh,
matter of
same.
fact, we're talking about this, and I'm like, I want a good chunky action
Yes.
RPG that
Well,
I can
like,
play through.
I'm currently playing through Dragon Age Veilguard, which is incredible. I'm very close to the end, and I purposely have not been playing it as much because I know it's about to end and I don't want it to. Um, but like, and also I've gotten back into like Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, right?
Hmm.
Which is it's a game you can completely lose yourself into. Um, but it has been nice to get back into some of these single player experiences. But yeah, there's just something about that. Like, you have great memories in gaming, but the second you have a really fun moment where other people were involved, like that just sticks in a different way. That's like, I mean, the amount of times I'm at work because you're in your own brain all day delivering mail,
Yeah.
because it's so like you
Yeah.
just get used to doing it, right? You're just thinking about random stuff the whole time. But like, random memory will pop up from Helldivers or playing Red Dead together, or anything else.
Mhm.
You just like start chuckling to yourself. And like, I don't have like, there's stuff that if someone mentions a game that's single player, I'll go, oh, I remember this moment now, but they never just randomly pop in my head. It's always those multiplayer experiences that'll randomly pop in, make you remember that time and laugh. And maybe I'll send you a text like, hey dude, randomly was thinking about this. Remember this moment?
Right.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, no one does, Brett. You're a fucking idiot.
Or he'll send me a text and be like, I think I'm going to reinstall Red Dead. And I'm like, yep, I've been having that same thought.
Yeah.
Here we go.
My job is a problem for that. The amount of times I'm like, hey, you know what we haven't played in a while? This weird, obscure thing. We should both install it again.
Okay. I think we're getting close to the end here.
Okay.
But what are your top 3 multiplayer games that you like playing?
I feel like we almost have to do like a separate list for like an MMO and for
Nope, top 3. Top 3.
what's because there's like MMOs are a thing, and I also have a lot of like arcade shooters that are really fun and massive.
Top 3.
Shit, all right, fuck. Okay, all right, top 3. Red Dead Online.
Okay.
Bad Company 2.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, it's tied, honestly. For online,
that's been a while.
Bad Company 2 is hands down the best Battlefield game ever made. But Battlefield 2142, which is the only futuristic one they've done, not the new one, it was like 2043 or whatever.
2040,
yeah, but like actually 2143 that had like drop pods, fucking spaceships, mechs and stuff. Online for that, incredible memory. So those two are tied for that spot, I think. The Oscars was with Beans. Remember Beans?
Yes.
The first of our group to get his license, and it completely changed the fact we could make snack runs at 3 a.m. completely changed our lives.
Yeah. Huge.
But so it was so funny. I'd spend the night at his house. We'd do a LAN party, Battlefield 2142, but we'd also be online. So it'd be like 4 of us on computers playing online in the same room as each other. And then for some reason at 7:00 every time in the morning, every time he's like, all right, I'm done. You guys can go now. Well, okay. And we'd all get kicked out of the house. Really weird, but it was hilarious. His dad was really into EVE Online and had like 4 accounts and was one of those guys that like had modded everything so it could do everything while he wasn't even there. So he'd be working at his desk and like you'd see 3 screens with ships doing different things in EVE Online. It was crazy. But we got kicked out at 7 a.m. every time. But yeah, so Red Dead Online, Battlefield 2142 / Bad Company 2, and MMO wise, I'm gonna probably just for I'm gonna have to go with World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna go Final Fantasy 14.
I was really close. Because Final Fantasy 14 is fucking phenomenal. But obviously 20 years of WoW, there's a lot of memories.
That's fair.
When I was working security overnight, obviously, being able to raid at work, but like, because I happened to work, I got with Securitas, and because of where I lived, I was going to be one of the, what did they call them? Where they filled in at like any site that just needed someone. I can't remember what that term was they had. Yeah, well, what a floater was. They had a weird security term for it. That was what I got hired on for. And so this call center, international call center, I was one of the places I was going to work at. And it happened to be the guy that was going to take the full-time position there had no idea how computers worked. So they did not want him. So I got to slide in that position. And because of that, someone else died. So I got the overnight position. And because of that, I got to meet Josh, Mr. Kshondo, who people know in the Discord, right? Because I happened to walk by his desk while they were planning out the raid, like mechanics and how they're going to lead their team through Ice Crown Citadel. And I was like, that's World of Warcraft. And so like just thousands of hours raiding, doing dungeons constantly with him because of all these weird life things that happened to fall into place to meet this guy. Or I probably would have fallen out of WoW a long time ago. But yeah, 20 years of incredible content and dungeons and raids. And like, I'm on a role play server. I got really into role playing for a while there. And like, it had a huge, awesome community on the server. Yeah, it was.
I remember one of the moments where we were playing together, and you're like, "I'm really into the role play," and I'm like, "I'm down for that." Yeah. And we like went and bowed in front of what's his name, the orc leader.
Well, we had Thrall, we had Grom, we had Garrosh, we had Vol'jin, we had Sylvanas.
Something Scream.
Oh, Garrosh Hellscream?
Yeah, that one.
Garrosh Hellscream. Which I want to point out in this last D&D session, right? You guys asked the orc's name, and Native said, if it's Garrosh Hellscream, I'm going to freak out. And I think my immediate response was like, no, it's Sarosh Heaven Whisper, and no one laughed.
Yeah.
And I was so mad.
I laughed.
Oh, maybe the microphone cut it out.
Because I was thinking about that when we were talking about this right now. I was like, yeah.
Heaven Whisper. That was good.
Sarosh Heaven Whisper.
Here comes my daughter. 1 second.
Yep.
What's up, baby?
So since I have an extra ticket, I'm gonna, cause Miss Clark gave me an extra ticket, I'm gonna give it to Lily. And can we like pick her up after school? Like she comes with us after school.
That's fine. Yeah, if her mom's okay with it.
Okay. Okay. My dad said it's fine if it's cool with your.
Cool. She's bringing one of her friends to her place. She's so excited. Close the door. But yeah. I don't know why I felt like I had to describe why I liked WoW so much because I did zero explanation.
Yeah,
Red Dead Online,
I feel like you needed no justification.
But I don't know, it just felt right. It felt right.
It did feel right.
Yeah. What's your top three?
I appreciated the passion. So my top three are Helldivers 2.
Wow, that's fascinating. That's so honestly, it'd be in my top 5, 100%.
I think I love the tongue in cheek. I love its sense of humor. I really love playing with everybody, even Beard. Even Beard. I think that it is such a good game. I love the ongoing nature of it, the way it has these little shifts and changes. It feels like a big chessboard, and it feels like there's a greater story going on.
Yes.
So even when I'm not playing it, I'm paying attention to the story, what's going on with the war, all this stuff.
And beyond that, just the gameplay loop itself is so fucking fun.
It is so good. And even when I'm playing it by myself, I still have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's challenging, but it doesn't feel unfair most of the time.
Yeah.
There are a couple of glitches where I'm like, but even then when it's like glitched out to hell and you've just got wave after wave and bot drop after bot drop or bug breach after bug breach, you're fighting for your life, and there's something really fun about that.
Yes.
So Helldivers 2 is in my top 3, simply because I really love it. Like it's really phenomenal. Love everything about it. Gameplay is snappy. I love that it's third person instead of first person because I like third person because I like to see my cool character. Everything about it is good. I love the community for the most part, except for how everybody's kind of sometimes, but it's just really, really good. Star Citizen.
Oh, baby. Yes. Again, top 5. My number 4 is Star Citizen. Number 5 is Helldivers 2. Like if you did top 5, both of those would have been in it.
I love, and I get it. I get the beef behind Star Citizen. I get why people are hesitant about it, but there is something like when it's working, such a good game.
Literally,
and I
nothing
love
like it.
I think part of the thing that I love about it is the promise, right? Yeah. Is this journey along the way of you feel, I don't know why, but it makes you feel like you're part of something. Like years down the road, maybe this is a game that your kids will play and you can be like, I was there in the beginning when we couldn't even board our ships. We just got to walk up to it in a space station. And, I mean,
I did get to do that.
I feel like there's something there that this game could continue on if they ever deliver even partially on that promise, right? That I feel like it could deliver on something.
As it stands now, they've already partially delivered on that promise. Like what you're able to play is already a partial part of that promise.
Right.
I've already got my money's worth. I'm happy.
I feel like I have. And so that's why I rank it up there because and it's really the story that you create along the way. There's so
Absolutely.
many hilarious moments that I've had with you guys of like
Nice, Russ.
nice Russ. Um so it's really really funny and I love it for that reason. Like I said, most of these things are memories created along the way, right?
Absolutely.
Of playing it with friends and Star Citizen. That's why it's in the top 3 is because of the memories. You and Gunbait and Bode and doing Xenos Threat for the first time with you
Oh,
guys.
dude, legit
Um
Xenothreat is, if we did like top 3 coolest gaming experiences of all time, like Xenothreat is 100% number 1.
yeah. It's ridiculous how fun it can be, right?
So just real quick, not to get super into it.
And
For anyone who
also
doesn't
rage
know,
inducing.
also rage inducing. So Xenothreat is this live event that happens in Star Citizen, right? Um, so the premise of it is you have this capital ship that you're collecting fuel from to help basically set it up so it can join you in combat to push Xenothreat, this terrorist organization from the Pyro system, out of Stanton, right? So it starts off, there's these derelict ships that have been taken over by these pirates, right? That are full of the cargo you need to fuel up this capital ship. So the first section of it is you battling your way past enemy spaceships and then leaving your ship EVAing to find an open area of one of these ships, an FPS, shooter going through there with flashlights, blasting pirates. You have to go find the bay, open it up, and then you're using your multi-tool to like move all the pieces out of the garage, right, into your ship and then fly it out there. Is part 1, right? And then after that finishes it up, then it's this giant fucking space battle with capital ships flying around each other, blasting each other. I mean, at the last time we played it, I think you could only have 50 people on a server, I think. So you had 45, 50 players flying around each other, dogfighting with another 50 something NPC ships at the same time. So you have like, it's really fun to just load shit into a spaceship, right? You had your first person shooter stuff and then massive dogfighting battles. It feels like what was that? The Star Wars. It was specifically just the space
Rogue Squadron.
It felt like that. It felt like Star Wars in such an
Yeah.
incredible way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like
I
it.
think that's why it ranks highly. And Bode cruising around in his luxury cruiser,
Literally in the
firing
middle of
at stuff.
not even
I
firing.
mean,
The amount of screenshots he has in the middle of a dogfight where he's standing in the lounge of his luxury ship, like smoking a cigar and just looking at the window as people are blowing up around him. Incredible.
because I think he was just there to watch.
Yeah,
Was essentially what
absolutely.
he was doing, and like pick us up if our ship exploded and we somehow survived. He was our ferryman.
Oh, so good.
And so Star Citizen is in the top 3, and then
I love your list.
my last one is Valheim.
Oh, brother, I love your list.
Valheim is just so good. In fact, my brother-in-law Joe has gotten
No
his
idea.
wife into playing it, and so I've been hankering to jump onto Valheim for the last little bit. To be like, I need to jump in here. I need to start building again. I love so Conan Exiles holds a special place in my heart. It was my
Absolutely it
first
does.
survival game that I've ever picked up. It has not held up super well, which is really unfortunate. However, Valheim is everything I think that I wanted Conan Exiles to be. You have the dungeons, you have the things, and especially with like the last update where you have siege warfare, where we have created a base inside one of these castles. Even like I remember specifically like it was me, you, and Clear Knight, and we were like, we're gonna go to the Ashlands for the first time. Was it Clear Night? It was Clear Night,
It was
right?
Clear Night, yeah.
Okay. And we're like, we're gonna go to the Ashlands for the first time in outside of the test server. And so we had the ship, we boarded up on the ship, we sailed it, And like I had played around in the test server, so I knew what was about to happen. And it was your first time coming in there, and the sky turns dark, and the red lightning starts coming down.
The music changes the second you switch over.
The sea is blood and steaming, and you see these sea monsters, and then you just come up, and there's just these spears of land sticking up, and it's like, how do you even get past here? And then we come in for a landing, and that is exactly because I was in a meeting. Don't do this.
Yeah.
I was in a meeting, and they asked for my attention, and I was like, "Crack! Gotta answer them. Gotta participate in my work." While you guys had jumped off because we were trying to create a beachhead, and you guys had jumped off, and you're fighting, and you died. And luckily, I stayed on board, so I like ran off real quick, and I threw up a portal as fast as I could so that we could get back and forth. And then we built like you and me. We built like a beachhead, like an actual beachhead where we were somewhat protected, and it was ghetto. It was just straight up ghetto that we built it
whatever
up in the
we
air.
could do to keep enemies out for a well, because again in Ashlands, like first of all, the respawn rate is insane. So it's like the second you think you're safe, everything's respawned around you. So it's like we had to build anything to just allow us to exist for a second. Right. And there's no way to just like build a community village in Ashlands like we did previously. So like the fact like you said, the siege warfare to actually break into a fucking like castle. And then we're like, all right, this is actually a prefabricated defensible position. We're just going to build all our own rooms in this castle. Fucking brilliant.
Yeah. And like the first time that we ran into like a Valkyrie and we're like, oh crap. Like, and it's just raining down fire on us, and then what are those little lizard guys coming up?
Fuck. Yes.
Whatever they're called, the stupid things that run so fast.
So fast.
And then you've got all these skeletons popping up around you, and it's just like, how in the world? What were we doing? We were like trying to travel from one place to another. I think were we just exploring? No, we were trying to get to, I think, another fortress because you guys needed resources or something like that. And just getting there, it was you, me, and Egg. And just the amount of times that we died on that run.
Oh, yeah.
Because I needed more crystals. I wanted to do another one because I needed more stuff to level up my magical gear and stuff.
And it wasn't honestly, like you said, it wasn't that far away. But the amount of times we died, it wound up being like an hour and a half adventure to get to our dead bodies, to get our stuff, and then get to the point you wanted. But yeah, dude, like
so fun.
Valheim is one of those. It is incredibly fun by yourself, right? Absolutely. Like you get lost in the music and just building and the sound design of things clicking into place and that little puff of smoke. It's just that music hits. It's so nostalgic, dude. I'm going to be thinking about that music forever. And that's so fun. But like on top of that, to have it where, when you have a group of friends and you're hitting a beach landing in Ashlands or doing the world bosses, which honestly, the game would have been perfect even without. And to have that extra thing on top, so fun. With mechanics, you actually have to work with your team and grind out better loot and gear for it. But like, obviously I mentioned, I think on the last episode, the one before, where we all got in a boat and just sailed across the map, found an island.
Oh yeah, found a little island.
But like the fact that we happened to find an island, built our walls around it, and it happened to be like a spawn point for trolls. So there was times where you had just like, you think you were there for a couple of them, where you just log on, there's like 4 trolls on the outside of the base. And so you'd log on randomly and there'd be like Tanner or Lex or Clear Knight or someone was already on the walls, just like, trying to hold it down and stay alive. And so you'd run up and help them battle off, all these fucking trolls that are taller than the wall looking at you, and that's just was one base.
Well, and because I love exploring, so I would sit there and I'd go all around the map and explore each island, and then you guys would come back and I'd be like, yeah, if you want to know what's around, just look at my map.
Yes.
And you guys would be like, holy like, how much time have you spent on this game? Or like, because you'd go away for like a week or a couple of days and you'd come back and like, so we built that little village, and I remember I was doing some other stuff. I think I was doing some exploring, so I was off somewhere else for a couple of days, and then I had teleported through, and I was like, "Whoa, what? Why is this so different?" And like, they had built walls and bridges and
Moat,
all this
a
crazy stuff.
dock.
Well, and then like a couple of days later, you guys had started building that place on the plane, so I was like, oh, I'll build my place, and then I tried to build my house in front of yours, and you kept destroying it like a jerk, and
Yeah, it sounds right.
and anyway, so we built like that little village, and then just watching like you'd come in and Clear Knights built like this huge massive tower, and Gunbait built like a dock over on the side, and then so I was like, I got really tired because I was I was doing something in the area, and I got really tired of dying and having to go all the way across. I think I was building a house or something like that, and the death mosquitoes kept coming and killing me.
Yeah, all the Deskitos, dude.
And so I hadn't quite built a portal yet, so I kept having to go back and around and come across the docks, but I don't have any stamina because I don't have my food.
Mm-hmm.
And so I die swimming, and I just got tired of that, so I just built a huge bridge that went over. And I was like, I'll build it tall enough so that the new ship can fit under.
Didn't
It
happen.
didn't. It didn't.
It didn't end well.
No. But it was close. Like I built that huge, and it just Valheim is fun. The building is fun. The exploring is fun. Gathering resources is even fun sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Although I do
Great
appreciate the
list.
no build
Yeah, and the no build's fun, and even when
or
we,
no mats. No mats.
yeah, no mats for building was a great thing to do because we'd all spent, I mean, literally hundreds of hours grinding mats to build,
Yeah.
just to build buildings, and it got to the point where we're like, all right, just to build a base is fun. Like, let's just make it fun for a community to do that, and that was a great decision.
It really was. Like we built some crazy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, if you wanted good gear and stuff, you had to grind that out and do that the old-fashioned way. It's just building bases, man. Just have fun with it. Let your mind wander,
Yeah.
and the frames drop. Dude, great list.
Thank you. I like your list too. Although I've never played 2043 or whatever it is, and I've never played Battlefield 2.
Bad Company 2.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, incredible. Dude, 2143 was the first time in a game like you'd watch someone run in front of you and the pouches on their belt actually like moved up and down.
Oh, that's cool.
And I remember like the first time, the amount of times I died just like watching pouches move on people while I was getting shot from somewhere else. Cause like, that's so cool. All right. You know, so good. But yeah, I love your whole list with stuff I've been there for. It makes me happy.
Yeah. Well,
love
like
you
I
very
said,
much.
most of the things are things that I've shared with you or other friends.
I love you so fucking
Yeah.
much, dude.
I love you
I cherish you
so much.
every
Cherish.
day.
Cherish is the word I use to describe.
Describe.
Bong, bong. Bong, bong.
I had something I was going to say, and then we gushed about each other.
I
I don't know. It was going to be a great way to like move from where you were at towards the end of the show, and it was fantastic. It would have been one of the best transitions in the history of ever. It's gone. It's just gone.
Let's just pretend it happened.
Just yeah, that was so good. But it was like a topic that would have been short and sweet
Oh,
and would have been really good. And as I talk about it, it's not coming back to my brain. So yeah, pretty skilled there. Love that.
where can people find you at?
Yeah, yeah. I remember. It just hit now.
Oh, hey.
Let's go. But no, listen. You know, we have a lot of different age brackets of people that listen to the show, right? But if I got to be honest,
Hopefully no young listeners.
yeah. You
It gets a little after dark in here.
100%. This show, not as much. This episode, last one, it was pretty. It was there.
We don't need alone time. We get all the alone time that we need together.
Yeah, baby. Anyway, so we have a lot of different age brackets, right? But I have to say, I'm very biased to ours, right? Just to the fact we've been able to experience in our lifespan so many changes in gaming. We got to experience, you know, which now we know wasn't actually the little thing you're supposed to do, but, you know, blowing on a cartridge because it wouldn't work and then putting it back in the system, hitting the reset button because your brother was beating you in a game.
Who says it doesn't work, because that was the only way to get games to
I've
work.
heard it was actually really bad for you to do that. It worked, but I heard it wasn't good.
I've
for the
heard
system.
too, but I don't believe it.
But yeah, hitting the reset button because your brother was beating you, right? Playing a racing game side by side, and the first time there was a 3D rendered car. The fucking Lion King game on Sega Genesis where Simba's running. It's the canyon mission where Simba's running towards the camera, and you're like, you can do this, right? To the point where we are now with Star Citizen, right? With these massive capital ships that are manned by people and all these intricate things. Like, we have been able to experience all of this technology and still be at a young enough age where we still have so much more to experience. We got to do all the outdoor shit, right? We spent as much gaming as we did. We spent a lot of times on our fucking bikes, just cruising around and hanging out and having a good time. We've gotten the best of literally both worlds. And I'm so fucking thankful that we're in our age bracket.
I agree. I agree. I worry. It's one of the things that I worry about with Gideon, right? Is because I want him to have that balance, right? Of go outside and touch some grass. But also I realize, you know, you really like Bluey.
Yeah.
You know, so
I love Bluey.
I mean, I get it, buddy. Dude, Bluey is such a good show.
Bluey is so good, dude.
It's such a good show.
Oh my God. Crying when your Xbox 360 red
absolutely.
Oh my God.
Okay, so quick story about that.
Please do.
I went through 3 Xbox 360s. All getting the red ring of death. And that is when I decided, screw the Xbox, I'm going to PlayStation.
Dude, the red ring would happen, and like you'd be at school, and like that was a top. Dude, did you hear fucking Peter's Xbox red ringed? Oh my God. Like, it can happen to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it was such a thing.
Made me so mad.
But I am grateful that like the fact that Minecraft has held up as long as it has, and Roblox being a thing, the first game a lot of kids are being introduced, and because I'm watching it with my kids, right? Where they're super into Roblox and Minecraft, you know, and then like I popped in Dragon Age Veilguard, and their faces when they saw that load up and the graphics, they're like, what the? That's possible? Like, it's cool to like still be able to give that kind of experience, you know? So I'm thankful that those games have existed in the way they have, so that, you know, you can still have that progression of, you know, where things used to be and where they are now. Right. And even in their lifetime, you know, they'll be, and who knows if they're in Ready Player One haptic full body suits, experiencing something and going, remember when you used to use a controller? Those were good days, you know?
Well, I mean, look at what they're doing with the Neuralink, right?
Oh yeah.
The 2 people that have one, or playing Counter-Strike with it.
Yeah. Crazy, dude. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because it was a very nostalgic episode going through the beginning of our gaming time with a multiplayer experience into online multiplayer, massive multiplayer online. And just the fact we've been able to experience all that in our lifetime and not be 80 years old right now and still have so many more games to experience.
I hope I'm as cool as he's been showing up on my feeds lately. I think his name's Dan. He's like an older guy, has to be 60s, but he's like the sniper grandpa.
Oh, the sniper grandpa guy? Yeah. Oh, he's so cool. I love him. There's a grandma too that is like so insanely good at shooters.
I don't know what Wayfinder is.
I don't know what it gets to play Wayfinder. Looking it up now.
I think I saw that she recently decided that she was going to stop streaming.
Came out last year, Wayfinder.
It's a game.
It's a game.
Do you find your way in the game?
You do find your way. Okay. I think I remember seeing something about this. Like we got sword and shield. We got some guns. Was this like a looter shooter that looked a lot like almost had that Overwatch graphics, right?
I think it's a survival game, isn't it?
I don't know.
Dude, Overwatch is something we haven't talked about in a while.
We have not talked about that in a while. Hey, dude, did you hear? They're testing 6v6 in Overwatch 2. I really wish them luck. That's untouched ground.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, there's no proof in the past at all that 6v6 works well for Overwatch. So I guess we'll see what happens with the testing.
I need to check this game out because it looks kind of cool.
Wayfinder? Yeah, it does actually. I feel like I remember seeing a trailer and being excited about it, and it just completely missed my radar.
Yeah. I really love the art style.
Me too.
The art style looks really cool. It looks kind of a mix of like action RPG and like a cooldown kind of thing. I'd be down for that.
We are now a Wayfinder podcast. Here we go.
I mean, looks pretty cool. I'm going to have to watch some videos. Thank you, Tenant, for bringing that one up.
You're a legend, brother. All right. Yeah. So there we go. That was our life journey through the changes in technology of the internets in gaming, our experiences with it, our top 3 multiplayer experiences of our lives as a list, and how grateful we are to have experienced in our age bracket the changes in gaming. And I love it. And I love you, Russ.
I love you. I love you more. I love you more.
Really impossible. It actually has hurt my marriage how much I love you. Where can the people find you, brother?
You can find me here most Thursdays, or usually at least sometime during the week in which we do our podcast. You can also find me in the Discord, Jackal7250. You can find me on Twitter. Or X, I guess, as it's called.
Yeah.
I'm relatively active. I'm not good at social media, guys. Like, I wish I were. I wish I were better at it. I am writing a book, so I really hope. I guess I've got to be a little bit better about it.
At some
point. I'm hoping, I'm hoping the podcast is enough for publishers to go, yeah, he does his thing.
I'll send very specific clips of the podcast to all the publishers.
And so, I mean, that's something eventually, hopefully, I'll one day, I'll say this, one day, you will be able to find me on bookshelves or at your nearest Barnes and Noble.
That is a fact, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll be able to only get your signed copies if you listen to here at Just Some Gamers.
Dude, how fun would that be, though, where it's like, one day, I've published a book, and that's like part of it, like part of the people that come in and chat with us. And then like we can travel to like conventions together.
That'd be so fun, dude.
Listen, and we can like do that kind of stuff.
I promise you right now, if you publish your book, you're going to get 5 purchases from this podcast alone.
Did you look at the number of people that were watching it and went, why? I'm included in one of those, right? So,
and me, okay. I promise you 3s of purchases.
So if you're ever looking for spy thriller fantasy,
he's your guy.
I honestly I haven't come up with a title yet. Working title is Alice.
Ooh, I want to dissect that a little bit, but yeah. So look for that. Episode 129. We had a very excellent excerpt from the book. Go back and listen to that. Don't listen to the whole episode. Just listen to Russell's book.
just listen.
Just listen to Russell's book.
I've done a couple of excerpts. So if you tune in and I feel like I've got a particularly good passage, I tend to try to share. I
agree. They have been fantastic. Your writing style makes me very happy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It is a work in progress.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
Just dust in the wind.
Oh, we are.
Just a couple lone wolves.
Where can people find you?
Well, if you want to find the episodes of Just Some Gamers, when we do the show, we are live, like Russell said, mostly on Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern on my Twitch. You can find us all over podcatchers. I believe Just Some Gamers is on every podcatcher there is. So please go listen to that and enjoy the show. If you weren't here for the live show, please come here. Jump in the chat. We had a lot of conversation back and forth tonight with people. Chat was awesome. We love each and every one of you. Ask us some questions in there. There's a couple things that popped up in the Discord that just because the episode ran so long, I'm not going to get into, tonight. So next episode, I'll have to spend some time, to hit on a couple questions that popped up in the Discord for some topics. So, again, thank you for that. As for myself, I'm MMORFUDD. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all those places where I'm only active on some of them at ELMMMERFUDD Games. Russypoo, my darlingest darling of all time. Also, can I say, you can tell, because I'm going back, I've been editing all the episodes, right? Like a certain point where me and you started being able to play a lot more recently together. Like the last 4 or 5 episodes we've 3 or 4 times during an episode where it's like, I just really fucking love you, dude. Like we just randomly just start gushing about each other. And it's because you can tell it's because that's when we started being able to play more together again. So
that's true. I like, we're definitely on the uptick. We usually go through these kinds of things where we're playing different. We're in contact at least every day, but we go through these times where we don't see each other as much. But the podcast is great because
it's fantastic.
Even the times where we're not getting to play together as much, we at least get we get to associate with each other.
100%, dude.
And you can tell the weeks is always the best.
It's just fun to listen. You can tell the weeks where we actually got to play a lot also. Because it's just like, we're just so giddy to physically look at each other after talking all week. You can just tell it's fun for me. I just really love you, dude. I like a lot. I'm excited for my new PC this weekend. So we can play Star Citizen together again. Your number 2 favorite multiplayer game of all time.
The top 3 weren't necessarily in order.
They were just
top 3 multiplayer games.
In the list you put out, it was number 2 in the list.
It was the second of the ones that I mentioned, yes.
Yes. What you should mention is the way in which you take us out.
Join us next week on Just Some Gamers for mutual chaos and utter incompetency.
Speaking of I didn't mention it. I said in the pre-show. I'll keep this part in. For anyone who listens this far, I mentioned in the pre-show. Interesting being really into MMOs, right? Mm-hmm. And also having crippling anxiety. I love raiding, right? If I have my core group of friends, I'm the crazy. Everyone knows, right? I'm out of control. But the second I don't have people to play with, I lock up. I cannot get myself to join random groups for anything in MMOs ever, dude. I completely fucking lock up. I had a raid group I was in for 4 years. I was out of it for 3 months, came back. There was 3 new people in it. And because I didn't know them, I was like, I can't fucking raid anymore. And I completely shut down. It's awful. It's awful. So I just wanted to hit on that.
Dude, do you remember doing the Callus raid?
Every day of my life.
And we had this kind of newer guy with us.
Yep.
Who had no idea what he was doing.
Zero. Game sense on a scale of 1 to 10, probably 2. Situational awareness, a 1. Class knowledge, probably a 3. Yeah.
And we just could not get through that raid.
It made me, dude.
And we tried a couple of times, and it was like we did the second part of it, and he wasn't there, and we aced through it. And then I think we were trying to do it again, and he shut up, and I was like, oh.
Well, Beef in chat real quick. You didn't shut down with me when I joined y'all for Helldivers Fuddy Poo. And that's if I'm confident in the moment, it's insane how my confidence will fucking soar. The second I'm confident, I'm untouchable. But the second that confidence, just slightly, has a little crack in it, I completely crumble apart. Everyone hates me and no one will like me and it's all over. It's a terrible thing.
Well, and two, Beef, when you joined, it wasn't like you were new to playing Helldivers with us, but you had been in the Discord. Like, we had seen you jump into.
And I was playing with a full group of people that I'm comfortable with.
We also played D&D. And it's not this Friday, it's next Friday.
Next Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't have that horrible anxiety fear in Helldivers.
Yeah.
That's my core group, man. I love that. But, like, it's tough, like, if you jump into, like, an actual MMO. I don't want to say actual, like, Destiny or something is an actual MMO, but I mean, like, the classic where, like, a raid group, it can be 20 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that is a terrifying thing to jump into. And I'm someone who's very outspoken online because I'm in the comfort of my home, right? Like, this is who I am as a person, but it has to be a very structured system for this part of me to be allowed to be free, right? And the second that structure isn't that structure, a completely different person. It's hilarious.
Well, and there's also, like, Fudd and I together, like, outside, like, when we're together, we make an extrovert, but when we're separate from each other, we're very much introverted people.
Oh, yeah.
But you get the two of us together, and we, like, there were times in high school where we would just, so this is probably bad, but
I'm listening.
We had a competition a couple of mornings where we would see who could get the most hugs.
Oh, I remember this.
The most phone numbers.
Yep.
The most hellos. So we would be like, we would find somewhere to stand so that as people were going past to class, we'd be like, "Hey, you're really pretty. What's your name?" The most names that we could get from girls. So it's funny because we're both very introverted. Like, if we did not have the other person to kind of draw that courage from, there's no way we would have done.
There's that, and also, and I know it's partly true for you as well, but for me, if it's part of like a bit or for a laugh,
yes,
I'll go
totally.
Like I was saying, that raid group where like 3 people joined in that I'd never met before, I was like, I'm completely shut down. But if before I joined that, I could join a call of people I've never met in my life. If someone was like, dude, it'd be so funny if you just jumped in there with a Scottish accent. Honestly, if I thought of that myself, I would be terrified for days. But if one person says, I'll laugh if you do this thing, I'm fucking all in, confidence through the roof, zero issues. Yeah. If I know it's for a bit or a laugh, like, all that's out the window. But if it's just for me, I can't do it.
That's why I say, like, if we went to a convention together, and like did the thing, like we feed off of each other very well in that context.
Dude, going to like EFY by myself and then going that 1 year with you, completely different experiences.
Yep.
Beef wants to know who won those competitions, and I got to say, folks, I'm being honest here. A lot of you, I mean, Russell's very handsome, right?
Yeah.
But you got to understand, us in high school, right? Russell was so goddamn handsome. He was such a pretty boy. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no way around it. With that magic hair, like, Russ has had it forever. He had good clothing style, carried himself well. He's tall.
I'll bet.
I can't,
Stop
dude.
it, man.
I can't.
Stop it.
It's true.
Well, remember that 1 year I dressed up as Hug Man?
Yeah.
I was 16, let me point out, and stupidly was Hugman your friendly neighborhood pedophile, which is awful, but I will point out that at the time I was underage.
Yeah, so it's totally fine. Yeah.
It's different.
It was also 2005, 2006.
I regret doing that.
Dude, that's actually funny you mentioned this. I was looking through my yearbook the other day for junior year, and it was someone very white, okay? Again, it's like 2005, 2006. I didn't, just because of the times, they put the N-word like 9 times in their message to me in my yearbook. And it was like, peace out, Black Power, as their sign out thing. And I was like, what the hell was, like, who fucking wrote this, Different
Yeah.
times, man.
I mean, yeah.
And to
But
make it very clear, we did not say that word ever. Okay, thank you. But just read it, like just how nonchalantly it was written out, and you can just tell like that was probably like a quote from something at the time. You know,
did I know them? Was it somebody that
I have to look
was
again to see if it was some. You probably knew them.
I think I can guess who it probably was.
Okay, good. But it's just
But
very
I'm curious
fascinating
if
to go
it's who
back
I
and read
was.
people's messages, and you go, "Oh yeah, those were very different times."
Occasionally I'll have the picture of us all piled into that one little
Oh
alcove
yes.
pop up on my Facebook.
Or all of
Those
us
were
around
good
the
times.
jelly bean. That's a good picture too.
That's a good picture too.
That's a good picture too.
You know, Fudd talks me up a lot. So I was an okay looking guy. I found out later that there were quite a few people who had crushes on me.
As they should.
I did not I did not have any style. My mom bought all my clothes.
You had great, dude. You were in style, man.
I wore polos and cargo shorts.
But you got to remember, at the time, those were in style, dude. You got to, okay, senior year of high school, folks, I wore a full 3-piece suit to school all the time just to prove a point that I would not win best dressed because it's a popularity contest. And sure enough, best dressed was just a dude in a fucking pink polo with the collar popped and brown cargo shorts.
Oh yeah, it was Mark Red, wasn't it?
No, he was older than us. It was a kid who looked a lot like him. But yeah, to prove a point, I wore a 3-piece suit to school all the time and didn't win best dressed. But
that was hilarious.
But dude, you're saying you wore that stuff. You had the style, dong. And I don't just talk you up to talk you up. You got to understand, I am honestly my whole life very obsessed with Russell. That's just a fact, folks.
I'm obsessed with you. Fudd was a handsome man too. He had quite a few girls after him because he had a great personality.
Had being the key word.
Has a great personality.
Had a great personality at the time. Yeah. The suit thing sounds like just the level of petty Fudd I know and love. Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah. Fudd had. Let's see. I think he had like 4 or 5 girls chasing after him at one point.
That's probably true, and I didn't recognize it at the time.
I recognized one.
I even had a stalker for a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, because you dated one of the girls for like a hot minute freshman year, and then they both, because I dated her friend, and then they both broke up with us like at the same time. Week.
Yeah.
With the same excuse.
Yep. Yeah.
And then there was the girl from the dances.
Correct. Yes. Which I still think about her all the time.
Kelsey's friend.
Yep.
Yeah. With the curly hair. She was cute.
Super cute.
She was super
We're friends
cute.
on Facebook. We keep up all still.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Broke my heart.
And then there was our other curly haired friend in high school that she confessed her feelings for you, but you guys never did anything with that.
Oh, hey, I remember that. Yeah. It was not reciprocal.
Because it was outside the elementary school or something that we were talking about it. Because I think she was waiting on a sibling, and we were just.
Dude, I had a girl that lived a couple streets over that like I hung out with their neighbor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, so she'd just be around, right? And she was 2 years younger than me. So I remember, and I know you love this story. I've told you this before, but I was walking home from school one day, freshman year of high school, and she was in middle school, and she happened to leave as I was walking by, followed me at an awkward distance. I was like, hi, and just like followed me at an awkward distance.
I was there for this, wasn't I? Like, no. I was the friend you were walking off from school with.
No. I was alone for this.
Oh.
Yeah. I've told you this story many times. So I was alone for this. So she happens to get out of school and is following me at an awkward distance. I'm like, okay, that's weird.
Yes.
Not
I
thinking
remember
anything
this
of
story.
this, right? And like, right as it gets to the street where she has to turn off, she goes, I need to confess something. And I was like, oh, okay. Random girl that lives 2 streets over from me, you know? I know we haven't talked in a while, but I think I need to break up with you because I like someone in my class. And I was like, what? Yeah, so I got broken up with someone that I'd never even knew we were together with.
I think you told me you had to tell me that like the next day or something.
Oh
like
my
that.
dude, if we'd had cell phones, I would have called you that night.
I
So
remember being there for
fucking
this, but
funny.
maybe not.
We've talked about that so many times. It probably feels
Yeah,
like you were there.
it just had to be one of those things where it was like,
Well, because
I
it's
just-
just one of those moments where it was completely different for the two of us. Because the whole walk, she's probably freaking out. Oh my God, how am I going to tell him? Like, my heart is aching. What I'm going to do to this poor guy. And I'm like, well, that's weird. She didn't wave back. Boop a doop a doop a doop a doo. You know, just strutting along.
dude, I'll tell you, this guy could do flips like no one else. Though would be flipping down the hallway.
Yeah. Oh,
You would do the dive and the roll.
the dive roll and the backward roll, a flip up on. I could do a back flip and a front flip.
Yeah.
What was that? The Ballantyne's trampoline that was on top of that giant hill, and I'd jump off the trampoline and like fucking free fly down the hill and roll.
I think it was the Simcox.
It was Ballantine.
Was it? Okay.
Oh yeah, my body hurts so much now from all that.
Yeah, I mean, you were
But
you were
so
Daredevil.
Oh, dude,
Now
I
it's
mean,
like-
we had, remember the hallways at school, the second floor, there was
Yeah.
that gap between where the walkway and the actual wall was. And it was quicker to just jump over the wall and land on the first floor than to go down the stairs. I would do that to go to class all the time. Dumb. Just dumb.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember, and I remember looking over and being like, I'll meet you around the side." Yeah, good times though.
Yep.
Good times.
Amen, man. And then there's Russell fucking riding his bike and reading at the same time. Fucking daredevil.
So dumb. Oh, dumb.
Texting and driving? Reading and biking.
Yeah, reading and biking.
Yeah.
I was bored. Fudd. That was the thing I was most known for.
Yeah.
Was like people would come up to me when we worked at Party America, and
That's
they'd be
right.
like, "Hey, you're that guy who reads all the time at school. Like you're the reader." And I was like, "Yeah, but who are you?"
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Oh, I go to Chatfield." What?
To just see him reading and riding his bike. Now listen, he did crash a lot. I want to make that clear, but he also did not crash a lot. Dude could read entire chapters of books from school to home.
I didn't crash nearly as much as I should have.
No, 100%. Also, to add on to the fact of how handsome he was, right? We also worked at Party America together,
Oh,
right?
no. Yeah.
And like, dude, during Halloween, the amount of times the girls would be like, "I want to know how this, what do you think?" And I'd be like, "Oh," and they'd be like, no, I was talking to him. They always wanted to like strut for Russ and ask his opinion on how cute they looked in their little sexy bumblebee.
And I was like, I think it looks good. As I'm like rushing and running because there was
We're
literally
so
no
fucking busy.
time to
Yeah.
flirt during Halloween. Halloween was a nightmare. That was probably one of the most fun jobs I've ever had, though.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Dude, Marvel Rivals, are you getting it?
I really want to.
Is it free to play?
I don't know. I watched nothing but great things about it. I really enjoyed watching videos
It looks
about
cool.
it. Will was going to get me a code during the beta, but he never did. So I didn't get to try it. Thanks, Will.
Well, a little notification just popped up that Xanafan was playing it.
Oh, yeah, we just got the same notification.
Hey,
Because I was
it's
like,
almost
you
like we know
mentioned
the
it.
same people.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, I feel like I just saw that name. Yeah. We'll have to look at that. Anyway, I need
This
to
show
go put
ended
my
like
kids to
30
bed.
minutes
Yeah, I
ago.
know. I love you so fucking much.
I love you
Guys,
too.
look at this man right here. This is Russell. All right. double S, double L. Okay. This man is my best friend of all time.
No,
I have spent
and you're
more time
my
with this
best
man in
friend.
my life without this man in my life. Okay. Some of my greatest
true.
memories involve this human being. I am the man I am today because of this incredible person. Okay. I love you so fucking much.
Dude, I love you too. By the way, I just looked it up. It is free to play, and it came out today.
Okay. I will have to install that as well. Ooh.
I mean, you know, after you put the kids to bed, if you're looking for something to do, just let me know.
Well, I was thinking about masturbating for 3 hours.
That's also fair.
Yeah. Or Mountain Blade is still calling me, and Dragon Age is calling me. But I could honestly, while putting the kids to bed, I will probably only be thinking about Rivals. And
I mean, come on. You can play Punisher or Captain America.
Is it on Steam? It's on Steam, right?
It's on Steam, and it is free to play.
Free, and it just launched today, and the reviews are already mostly positive. Adding to library
now.
Going to my library. Oh, I'm supposed to be putting my kids to bed right now. The pod. Anyone who's been popping into the stream, the podcast ended half an hour ago. We've just been talking about high school and how like literally gassing each other up.
Yeah, dude. It's been too long. I need to see you. I need to hold that beautiful man flesh in my arms.
See you so bad, dude.
Yeah. We need to do something.
47 gigs. That's not bad.
I'm just saying.
All right, install it. Install. All right, just installing Lego. Put the kids to bed.
Really? Tanit says he loves it more than Overwatch.
Woof! And I loved Overwatch.
Overwatch was
my jam for a long time.
Okay, who should I play first? Should I play Venom or Hulk?
I got to end the stream. I got to put my kids to bed.
All right. Let me know when you're back on.